you for everybody else that's joined and that is joining. My name is Andy Espinosa. I'm here today on behalf of AWS. So my day-to-day is with AWS, but as a special and very lucky guest to be speaking to you guys on behalf of eCore. eCore is one of our most engaged and growing partners in the US, working with cloud solution services, mostly with AWS, of course. And the reason we're here today is to basically walk you guys through some key insights that AWS pushes forth to help organizations. Today's conversation is we want to make it as non-committal as possible, just to give you guys information to help you on your journey to make sure that you and your organizations are poised for success with everything that has to do with your infrastructure, reducing expenses, and just basically ensuring that you guys are taking the most advantage of all the technology that's out there. So what I do invite is anybody. Uh, uh, Anthony, we spoke, but if you have any other questions as we go, and anybody else that joins throughout the hour, you can just chime in, open up your mic, put them on the chat. Today's conversation, I don't want to take the full hour talking about or going through the slide deck. Hopefully, we can get that done in 30 minutes and then open it up for conversations. The idea is to make these sessions as interactive as possible, and to bring you good news, right? So the idea for today's conversation centers around a special program that AWS is running. We do work with partners such as eCore in our day-to-day. We do, of course, offer many solutions and products that AWS has built across so many years on our portfolio. And every once in a while, we'll push certain initiatives with partners such as eCore to help organizations to basically take a look at what's happening with their infrastructure. And what really drives the needle, what's the benefit of today's conversation, is that this assessment is currently being funded fully by AWS with eCore. So eCore has taken the advantage to fully fund these type of assessments for organizations such as yourselves, in case that you may be interested. Again, no commitment, no strings attached, simply to help you at the very least take a look at what's happening with your architecture, right? So one of the many things that we see when we talk to organizations on the day-to-day, myself, my team, when we talk about migrating organizations and helping them move to the cloud, we see that there are many commonplace challenges. At the very least, not even just migrating to the cloud, but just thinking, right? Sometimes we have preconceived notions of certain things and they're not true, or they're half truths, right? One of the main challenges that we, of course, come across with is the cost management and the cost associated with cloud migration. One of the things that when we do cloud migrations with AWS that we ensure is that we always reduce expenses, or most of the time, but we also take that into consideration to make sure that we're not only assessing your infrastructure as is, but how to make it better once we provide insights on how to make it more efficient to reduce expenses. And we're going to be deep diving into that in a few slides. Security and compliance risk is also, of course, one of the major challenges when we're talking about the cloud. How to ensure that once everything is uploaded to the cloud, migrated to the cloud, whether the entire company's architecture or part of it, or part of their servers, part of their operations, how to make sure that all of that within the transition process, the migration process, is as seamless and as secure as possible. Downtime and business disruptions is also a commonplace challenge that organizations or business leaders have in terms of understanding how to ensure that when we migrate to the cloud, we're able to maintain legacy systems as is, that there's no disruptions to their business, that we want to make sure that business as usual continues, right? Having in-house capabilities is, of course, one of the most easy spots to identify in terms of challenges. Most organizations don't have in-house cloud specialists or AWS certified specialists. This is where working with AWS and special solutions providers such as eCore really move the needle to make sure that you guys have the full picture and are able to understand how to do things in the best way possible, right? And lastly, data migration, complexity, understanding not only where to store the data, but how to manage that data, how to visualize that data, especially in this day and age where data is king or queen once again, and data has become so relevant because of AI and machine learning, and companies are just jumping on that arms race. So it's really important for companies to really understand all those aspects of that data, right? So all in all, we see that companies do have certain fears, certain misunderstandings about cloud migration, and the one of the ways that AWS has been helping organizations, especially over these past few years, is to conduct or optimize licensing assessment, the OLA, which is basically an assessment that can take anywhere between 3 days to 2 weeks, 3 weeks to execute through an agentless tool. It's very easy, very non-intrusive, and we're going to be looking at what it entails and what the key components of the OLA. But the OLA is really not only is it very easy and intuitive to perform, but as I was mentioning when we opened up the conversation, through this program, eCore has decided to fully fund the OLA. Usually partners like eCore and other partners, they do incur certain costs, and those are part of the service. Through this limited time, the entire assessment will be fully complimentary, right? So this is why we're here today, to see how we can help you guys to better understand how to look at your infrastructure in a more complete and cohesive and transparent way. Um, One of the things that the OLA performs is, so it takes a look at the entire balance sheet of what's running in your infrastructure. We'd look at licensing agreements, we look at applications, we look at all the workloads, servers, hosting, storage. We want to make sure that we analyze everything to be able to provide insights as to how to migrate to the cloud should you desire to migrate partially or complete to the cloud by right sizing your resources, right? I was mentioning it's not only about migrating one to one. So if you have 50 servers, doesn't mean that once you migrate, you're going to have 50 servers on the cloud. We usually reduce that by a significant amount. We usually look at the number of licenses that you have, and we're able to reduce redundancies, eliminate unnecessary expenses in terms of licensing that are not being used, in terms of hosting that's not being used, storage capacity that's not being used, and that all leads to significant cost savings just by taking a look at what's really happening with your architecture. And if there's a cloud migration, if that really moves forward, then obviously that not only saves money, it provides more efficiencies, but it also shifts the operating expense to a pay-as-you-go model, right? Rather than having to incur in on-prem type of capex investments, companies are able to simply pay for the demand capacity that they need, which is really one of the marvelous wonders that cloud has always offered, right? In terms of cost savings and what the OLA showcases, we have many examples to go through that we can provide to you after this session. We're going to go through some of them, but in general, we see that there's a average reduction of costs in terms of licensing of 36%, Windows Server licensing reduction of 77%, and even SQL core licensing by 45%. And this is just basically general statistics, averages in the US. It varies, of course, industry by industry, company size, even perhaps by state, but all in all, we see a significant ability to reduce expenses across the board once we're able to help organizations and take a look at what's really happening, right? One of the many things that at AWS we really take pride in is we're built as a cohesive ecosystem to really leverage the existing infrastructure and applications that you have. We are, to a very large extent, we're very technology agnostic, and we incorporate with most major third-party applications, SQL providers, databases, productivity tools, even like Microsoft 365, that can all live on AWS in a way to make sure that all workloads and all aspects of your architecture are covered within the AWS ecosystem, right? So in general, for example, we talk about Oracle databases, right? And then we were able to reduce those core servers that might be used once we do a migration. VMware workloads, that's something that's becoming very relevant. Um, we for example, Anthony, we're talking about, you're telling me that you're a Cardinal Health. Uh, we know that a lot of companies have been using VMware. VMware has a huge global footprint. Um, there was a recent acquisition by Broadcom, and that has increased some of the licensing expenses that customers are not used to paying for that, or not knowing where to host those VMCs, those virtual machines. So these are commonplace challenges that we are seeing, and we're helping through AWS. We're helping organizations better understand and better save money by providing such assessments like the OLA. Microsoft SQL, Microsoft Windows servers, Microsoft 365. We connect with third-party public clouds like GCP and Microsoft Azure. So all across the board, we're built to make sure that we can migrate as much as needed to AWS, but we can also integrate with third-party applications, third-party public cloud services to ensure that your business continues as smoothly as possible, right? So the OLA is basically this assessment where we go in and we do a workload assessment. We look at all the applications that are running, the licensing environment. We collect all that data. We look at all your servers. We analyze that, and then we're able to create a final report. Again, that for a limited time period with eCore is fully complimentary, and all it will be is a provide a very comprehensive analysis of where you guys are and how to help you save money. Right now, if you decide to continue working with AWS, that's phenomenal, but you can still take the report home and do whatever you want, right? So that's basically the gist of what we're doing today with AWS. The AWS Migration Evaluator is the tool that actually conducts the OLA. Which basically was built to analyze and look at all that's happening within your infrastructure. It is an agentless tool, so it is very unintrusive. It is very easy to install and to deploy. It works across Windows and Linux operating systems. It includes and supports VMware that we looked at. We talked about Microsoft Hyper-V infrastructure. All SQL types of data and server applications. And uh, there's also a way that we can run the OLA without having to run the actual tool. There's also a more simpler way, and sometimes companies decide to do this if the scope is smaller, where basically we can just upload a flat file, which is like a CSV file, and we can just gather all the data. So there are ways and other avenues as well to help you along to make sure that the OLA is as seamless as possible, right? All in all, what the OLA will help you and will provide at the end of the day is a analysis of your workloads, how to reduce expenses, right? So how to really be able to right size and how to migrate to what makes sense in order to reduce your expenses significantly and to help you position you for success, right? Once the OLA is done, should you decide to continue on working with AWS and you would like to further assistance via AWS and eCore, we can gladly do so, right? So we want to make sure that you're strongly positioned for success to move forward on your digital journey, right? So very straightforward. All in all, what we see beyond cost savings is having that informed decision making dashboard, which will really help to understand how for you guys as organizational leaders, how to really maximize the most of your current infrastructure and how to make it even better should you decide to migrate part of it or most of it to the cloud. We do take very seriously um, the that every company is different. At AWS, we understand that, you know, cloud solutions are very tailored to each company, and no company is the same. No matter how much we would like that, because it would just make everybody's life so much easier. We understand that every single company is different, and they're built differently, different DNA, different operational methodologies, different strategies when it comes to their architecture, their growth. Companies are indeed having to embrace the fact that the era of technology has been here for a while and it's going to continue so. So all companies, one way or another, have to be technology companies if they want to survive over the next 10, 20 years. So that's something that we really take seriously. We understand that every company is different. So once we do the assessment, we're able to provide a very customized approach to understanding how to help you move forward, how to reduce expenses, how to improve your performance, how to help you become more agile, more innovative, whatever needs you may have, we will make sure to address all of those. Of course, AWS, we work with We worked with thousands, tens of thousands of companies worldwide. We have locations mostly across every single territory in the world. Uh, of course, we're an American-based company, so our main core, our main day-to-day is based in the United States. We work with companies like Pearson, as a global publishing house, Accenture, which is a healthcare provider, and Gunti, which is basically a medical testing resource solutions provider. So all in all, we have many use cases that we can provide once we start talking to you guys. Uh, and we start executing the OLA with you, we can also look at examples such as these ones. To, we do that every once in a while so that we can look at other companies and help you understand what are some common best practices, some use cases that can be helpful as examples on how to move forward. Okay. So um, basically, the OLA, it usually takes about, I've seen it in less than a week. It can be executed. Most of the times, it takes anywhere between 5 to 10 days. Sometimes it can be 20 days. And once the data is extracted and analyzed, this is where we come back in, right? And in this case, with eCore, we'll be able to provide very comprehensive insights into where you guys are in terms of your architecture to be able to give you actionable steps, right? That's ultimately what we want to do. The first component of the OLA report has an analysis and insights component, which basically what we do is we take a look at your entire infrastructure and we take a snapshot of what is happening, what you have, and what is being used and what is being not used, right? So for example, this example that we're looking at and the next few slides, they're actual examples of an actual OLA report. Of course, we can't put the company name, or some of the numbers have to be tweaked a little bit here and there simply for privacy. But most of it is the actual report, and it just serves as an example, right? So, for example, in this one, we did a 26 days data collection period. We scoped 41 of 70 servers. We usually try to scope out all the servers and the entire and all nodes and everything that's happening within each component. But depending on the scope, we also understand that by taking a significant sample size, we're able to predict and understand what's happening across most of the organization's architecture. So in this case, for example, we saw that 38% of servers are zombies, they're not being used, they're idle. We can forecast a 49% estimated cost savings when compared to direct match. So once we would do a migration, we could not only shift to an OpEx pay-as-you-go model, but at a lower price, but we're also able to reduce those redundancies of idle servers, of zombie components of your architecture that is not currently being used, right? So this is one of the key components of the OLA. We do also a review. For example, on this report, we were able to showcase how we had 39 Windows servers in scope, provision and storage with 33 servers, Linux servers, 2 Linux servers in scope, SQL servers. So we really want to make sure that we're looking at everything, at all the servers within your organization. When it comes to licensing, one of the strongest tenets of the OLA center around the licensing component. We're able to look at all the licensing agreements that you may have and to provide you an insight of which ones are not being used, why are you spending so much money on licenses that you're not using, why do you have so many licenses that have expired and you haven't renewed, and if they are about to be renewed or about to expire, can we do something about it? And that's where the magic really comes in when it comes to the licensing. So in this case, for example, we were able to look at the Windows server that this company had, the SQL servers on Microsoft that this company was running, all in all to give us a good insight as to provide again, actionable, tangible ways to move forward to help you guys reduce expenses for your organization. The second component of the OLA centers around a financial summary. Once we do an overview of what you have, what you're running, then we take that and we extrapolate that and we say, okay, the first component will help you understand what you have. It's a snapshot, it's a balance sheet. The second component, the financial summary, will tell you this is how much you're spending and this is how much you could spend should you decide to migrate to the cloud, most or key components of your organization's infrastructure, and this is how much it would cost you, right? Using basically right sizing approach, right? So for example, in this one, we're taking an approach of proposal on shared tenancy, where basically by combining mixed tenants across the AWS infrastructure, we're able to significantly reduce expenses because you don't have to pay for unused storage or networking capacity that otherwise you might be using, right? So in this case, for example, when we talk about um, this proposal, the first thing, if we look at the second column, for example, this would be the 3-year annualized uh, a proposal of what it would cost based on that right sizing approach for this company's example that we're looking at and migrating their infrastructure. One of the things that, for example, that AWS also offers is the reserved instance promotion, which basically helps organizations based on the forecasted demand capacity that you guys will have. We're able to pre-allocate some of that capacity so that we're able to offer even more cost-efficient approach to your storage and your networking, right? So in this example, if we look at it, we're looking at $81,000 per year based on that infrastructure. If we do the same thing, but we continue to use the remainder of the licenses that this company had, and we're able to basically further enhance the efficiencies based on the licenses that they have, we could bring that down even further to $55,000 or $56,000. Um, if we look at the exact same thing without any right sizing, so no mixed tenancy, just basically uh, translating one-to-one what's on-prem or what you guys are currently having to the cloud, for example, in this company's example, then it would be $187,000 a year. So we can see just right off the bat how right sizing and mixed tenancy really moves the needle to ensure that we're not only reducing expenses and moving to pay-as-you-go monthly type of billing agreement, but also to really just help companies become more efficient all in all, right? This snapshot, for example, summarizes this as well. This company had 16 total cores to license. Once we did the assessment, we're able to showcase that it can be just 8 cores that need to be running in operation. That's 50% license reduction. Um, Shared tenancy, as I was mentioning, is part of the key ingredients of the magic formula that AWS builds to help organizations such as yourselves and such as this one by being able to basically move to a multi-tenant server type of environment, and that reduces expenses for everyone, of course, maintaining the same level of support, the same level of security, and the same level of efficiency. So that doesn't change anything. Through the program and through the report, we also make sure that we provide organizations a snapshot of what the EC2 deployment, what we call the EC2 deployment based on the virtual machines that would be running based on a shared tenancy blueprint should we move to the cloud. And also we further provide insights into the licensing agreements that are in place and how to make sure that you guys have full visibility as to what's being used, what's not being used, and how to help you become more efficient with that, right? So the report is phenomenal. It really provides many insights. For example, with a SQL standard here, on-prem course moving, it's another example of this report from 32 moving to 16. And it's funny because I would say like going through this, I'm just showing it to you guys, and it's like, man, it's so straightforward and it's so obvious. But the truth is that as business leaders, we're in our day to day. We don't have the bandwidth to really take a look at all of this. Like, there's no way. It's very rare to see organizations that have everything exactly mapped out. Companies they're hybrid and they're living beings, right? So they start off small and they start growing, and during that process, a lot of inefficiencies are created. So what we want to make sure is that we're helping you with the OLA to trim that unwanted, unneeded fat to make sure that you're saving money, right? Um, so I'm going to make a quick stop here for everybody that's joined today on behalf of eCore and with AWS. If you have some time, we're going to put this on the chat as well, just the link. But you can just let us know. It's a quick survey. It'll take a minute or two. We can hear what you think about this program, give us any insights, give us any feedback, but additionally so that we can get in touch with you, right? The idea for next steps is to truly have a one-on-one conversation with you guys, see how we can help you, and again, I'm here with AWS and on behalf of eCore, who's one of our most trusted and ongoing partners. But I would really suggest to make the best of this, because this is an opportunity. This is something that AWS, again, as I mentioned, there's a cost associated, but uh, with eCore and AWS, we're providing this for free, right? So basically, it's a complimentary for a time period. So it really doesn't hurt to have a health checkup of your organization. No commitment, no stress. It's at least, it's like, well, we go to the doctor, right? We don't like to go to the doctor, but we know that we have to go to the doctor. And after we go to the doctor, then we see if we have to change our eating habits, do more exercise, get more sleep, things that we already know. But when we go to the doctor, it really helps us to kind of put things back into perspective. Similarly, the OLA is like that health checkup of organizations. Um, for next steps, and this would be if as we move forward with you guys, we would have a conversation with you, help you with the assessment, and then we can take tailored approach to how to best move forward based on your needs, based on your timelines, to make sure that we're providing value all across the board for your organization. Um, in terms of summarizing what the OLA does, cost optimization is a key component to help you guys understand, have a full visibility of your expense structure right now and how to make that better, helping you become more flexible, more nimble, more agile, taking a look at what you're operating. One of the things that really yields the OLA beyond the report that we just saw is very insightful conversations. Once we start having conversations with you, we're able to provide insights to you guys as to how to really improve your performance, how to improve your not only your expenses, but also your security. If one of the things that always pops up when we do OLAs, when we talk to companies, oftentimes they start telling us, hey, look, we're over the next 12, 24 month time horizon, we're deploying a new application, or we're launching a new country for our products and services. Why do you recommend? And this is where conversations really start trickle in, because we can really help you on that aspect of your growth as well, right? So all in all, it's all about capturing and adding value to you guys. Like I mentioned, the OLA has a no cost assessment for the time period, thanks to our partner eCore. It should take about 3 hours time commitment. That's usually what we do. So it would be a first discovery call to understand where you guys are, who's who are the key stakeholders, right? Hence, that's why the survey, the question, the filling out is very important. The second call would be the actual go live. We start running it. And then the third meeting would be just to review the results of the OLA report once we have gone through the entire analysis and we have collected that data. Okay. So again, the idea is to really help you guys. We are really excited because the OLA really helps organizations. We see this on the day-to-day. It's basically what I'm dedicated to, and I really see how it really helps organizations. And again, no commitment, no hassle, but it's a nice way for you guys to really understand where you guys are. We do have a few minutes left. We're pretty good on time. So what I'll do is let me check if we have any questions on the chat, or if anybody has any questions so far, we can make a pit stop here. Okay, we're good to go. Perfect. Um, so just to do a quick recap also on AWS and where we are with AWS, not only do we, uh, AWS, it really gives us that sense of pride, that badge of honor, because not only are we the market share leader worldwide and we really built this space, but we also compete very strongly with our peers. And in terms of innovation, in terms of products and solutions, we're always coming up on top. For example, this Gartner Magic Quadrant, which is very recognized across the technology industry. So we're always winning accolades. We are, um, as I mentioned earlier, we basically have a global footprint across the globe. In the United States, we have many operating regions, which really facilitates conversations to help companies reduce expenses, reduce that last mile type of uh, uh, data transmission type of expenses. So we're really built in a way to provide very comprehensive and complete types of services. Security is key. None of what we do would be possible. You guys here today, you guys probably manage most of your IT departments. Without security, none of what we do would be possible. We have over 200 solutions and products across AWS to help you ensure that security is always paramount and always guaranteed. This is why we work with not only small and medium-sized companies, but we work with Fortune 500 companies, publicly traded companies, government agencies, right, work on AWS. So all across the board, security is one of the most important key tenets. In terms of AWS, what we really offer, and we talked about it, right? With the OLA, we're able to provide that sense of reliability, a collaborative and cohesive environment for your user management that provides cost reduction. And that's really what we're looking for here to help you guys out with, to be more agile and more flexible, right? So all across the AWS opportunity continues. We are very excited because we really see how things really are moving the needle forward, how things are moving across the globe. I know this sounds very cliche, but the world is really, really changing very fast. And we want to make sure that we continue to help you guys. We want to make sure that we're able to provide value and that you guys are able to not only survive, but also thrive over the next 10, 20 years as an era of AI and machine learning and blockchain and space exploration and robotics and everything really changes how we do business, that you guys are positioned for success, right? So that's why the OLA is really just a very strong stepping stone to really help you guys if it's something that you guys need, okay? So I'm just gonna make sure that we put the link on the chat so that you guys can register for the event, for the next step of the conversation. Let me just stop sharing my screen and I'll be able to put it on the chat. Give me 1 second. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, I'm also going to be looking at the chat. If you guys have any questions or any comments about today's session, about next steps, about how to help you. Okay, I found it. Okay, if you guys have any particular questions about your organization per se and how this could translate into what you guys do on your day to day, if you have any issues with stakeholders, commonplace questions, that always happens, right? Sometimes we work with organizations that are interested, but some other stakeholders are not that interested, or we have to talk to them as well, or they need just additional resources, additional information. So again, we have time to open up the conversation for any of those matters as well. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so no questions. So I hope that's a good sign. Do take some time to it'll take a minute or two, just register on the survey. Let us know how we did if you have any questions, and then our eCore team and AWS can follow up with you guys and see